Morning, Jew. It's Heather Gold here. I'm blessed. I'm blessed today. I'm in Napa.
She's always blessed. And I'm Katie Halper, less blessed, but drinking some coconut water,
New York,
New York style. I'm in New York, right?
center of the Jews. I'm here with some family who are very kindly bringing me on this holiday. So here we are, Morning Jew this week. It is October 18th, and it's a big week.
Another big week.
It feels a little weird to talk first about something that happened before the government shutdown ended, because it ended, and obviously we need to talk about that. But when it was down, when the federal government was down, and in my opinion, it will be going down every 2 months until North Carolina stopped all welfare payments, period, and food stamps to people, even though they could have kept paying them and they had a rainy day fund, they didn't.
I think that's good.
You think it's good they stopped
I think
taking care of the poor? Who
no,
are probably
I don't
all
think
heavily
no,
African
no.
American?
Well, yeah, because whenever we can, do disservices to either the poor or African Americans, I'm happy. No, I'm obviously kidding. But I think what's good about it is that it's like, well, this sounds very callous. What I like about it is that it's just like no bullshit. It's like, obviously, we totally don't care about
It's the
people.
honest racism?
It's the honesty of it. It's like no one can now think that Republicans have any heart.
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit more revealing that we're on our way to, it's just the U.S. is a developing country, essentially. It's like a banana republic. It's a Blade Runner future. There are extreme haves and have-nots. And I don't think it's just the Republicans that are heartless. I think I wouldn't put it just on the Republicans.
Well, I mean, in this case, I'm not totally enamored of. I mean, of course, I'm cynical. I think the difference between Republicans and Democrats should be bigger, blah, blah, blah. But in this case, it really is the Republicans who were totally indifferent to shutting it down. I mean, what could the Democrats have done?
Have done?
That's why I didn't like that BuzzFeed had a thing. I was like 50 things that senators were doing during the shutdown. And like the Republican ones were good, but I don't want to see don't make fun of what Al Franken's doing. It's not like he's not trying to help people and, doesn't believe in the welfare state.
At the end of the day, the way that system is set up is they're all in it to get reelected and hold on to their seats. And divide and conquer, which happened in every single. So now we're heading back. We're going from North Carolina into the shutdown generally. Most places it's divide and conquer, and the divide and conquer in the U.S. is rather than saying, "Oh, it's the Hutus and the Tutsis," or it's Pakistan and Bangladesh are going to be split by India. Which everyone in India I met seemed to be pretty aware of what a colonial bunch of crap they were left with. The U.S. it's Republicans and Democrats. It's always this false choice.
I didn't know you were such a lefty.
It's always.
I mean, I am too.
I wouldn't say lefty.
Analysis,
I would call it an outsidey.
Diagnosis.
I'm an outsidey. Okay. I just feel like it's like there's this false, ridiculous choice, and the people are screwed ultimately. The people are screwed.
I agree, but I go back and forth between that vision, which I definitely have a lot, or that idea or feeling or analysis, and then the kind of like, look, there are concrete differences between the two of them when it comes to things like the welfare state.
The entire thing about most arguments, and this is what most cable television is left with, is it's very one side versus another, and it's getting people caught up in, it's Hunger Games.
Partisanship.
It's our team versus your team. Don't keep your eye on the ball. Meanwhile, the people behind the curtain are doing just fine because they play the house. They play the house. They
so many metaphors here.
I know. I'm going.
There's a curtain that involves. It's like a Wizard of Oz in a house who's playing cards or playing the house. I don't even know what it means. Is that a theater thing or a card thing?
If Murdoch could make just as much money selling you stuff, wouldn't he? He doesn't care who he sells it to.
No, he doesn't care.
No, none of them do. So I don't really
think that the difference is that negligible. I mean, I think maybe the argument that lots of people would make, or Leninists would make, right, is that like they're placating the masses and they're giving them just enough so that they're not rising up, blah, blah, blah. But I think that the difference between Democrats and Republicans is big enough on a concrete level that...
Yeah, but it also...
What do we do about it, though, is the question, because we're not going to have a revolution.
Maybe both of those things are true. I mean, there is a difference, and even if you focus on the difference, what does it get you?
Oh, yeah, I feel like we're being very rabbinical right now.
Oh, really?
Maybe two of them are true, and yet, who knows? and yet...
Listen,
I don't know.
Obama's a Democrat. Has anyone from Wall Street gone to jail? Not one. person. Not
No,
one.
I mean, they're not good enough, but they're much better. Anyway, so what is this? Good for the Jews, bad for the Jews? She never gets my...
Okay, North Carolina hurting people in poverty and choosing to do so is bad for Jews because anything that hurts people hurts us. If someone else is hurt, we're hurt. But I'm sure
and
you're going to
one
find
is
a way.
Injury to all.
But you'll find a. But I bet you feel like, well, listen, because it's Goyim doing it. Is that who runs North Carolina?
No, I actually think. Well, I don't know how many Jews there. I feel like in North Carolina they think the Jews run everything. So anything that bad that happens with involving money, they probably think it's like, oh, some Jew sitting in an office, a cabal of Jews did that.
Is Janet Yellen the new Fed person running the Fed? Is she Jewish?
I don't know. Yellen? I don't know.
Yellen.
We should know this.
First woman, listen, Jews, look it up for us.
Yeah, Jews, someone call in.
Juggle it for us, Jews.
No, we both agree it's bad for the Jews.
It's terrible, right, cool. But it's honest, and it's kind of revealing what's happening to the country and kind of how farther it can go. The big story is that the women senators actually talked to each other over a nice piece of cake and some coffee. And
coffee talk.
And said, how are your children? Oi, they give me such service. And then they were like, we'll figure a thing out, apparently.
Right.
Is it good for the Jews, bad for the Jews that they refunded the government? And that the women supposedly did it? I can't believe they got pressed for it.
Well, it's good because they're Jewish women, let's be honest. I mean, some of them at least. But I feel like, who were the big ones in it? Olympia Collins is definitely not. She kind of looks Jewish, though.
She's from Maine. You know what?
So does the other one.
In the vein
Snow?
of Lenny...
No, it's Olympia Snow. I'm messing their names up.
Susan Collins.
Susan Collins, thank you.
In the vein of Lenny Bruce's famous thing, if you're from Maine, you're Goyish. I don't care if you were Jewish. You're a Goy if you're from Maine. I put it this way. The idea that the entire world economic system could fall down if they didn't deal with raising the debt ceiling, just unilaterally bad for the Jews. Global economic decline.
Disasters.
We're probably first on the list for blame in 3/4 of the world. So, not to mention that who likes a destroyed economy? Nobody. Not us.
Nobody. Even the Jews don't like it. Even the Jews.
Even though someone out there thinks you and I are planning it now.
Right.
Yeah, no. I know a lot more about how to make a brisket than about how to create global economic decline. So that's
famous last words.
Meanwhile, do you think they're gonna actually fix this, or is it gonna be every 8 weeks we have to hear Ted Cruz tap dancing?
It's like a timeshare arrangement.
It's like I am going to be in the media cycle every 8 weeks. Congress has found a way to get back in the middle of the media coverage.
I think they did. It did so much harm to the Republicans that I don't think they'll try to avoid it. But then the Tea Party people are so doctrinaire and fanatical and fundamentalist that maybe they can't control them.
Essentially, without homosexuals to keep them together, the Wall Street Republicans and the fanatical religious Republicans are having a breakup. They used to be united by focusing on us. It's now that we kind of have rights, they don't have us anymore, so they're just mad.
The Jews, you mean? Us?
The
women?
Religious, the social conservative Tea Party folks are angry, and they're going to take it out on their own party. It's been happening. They don't care. So I don't know. Wall Street...
The gays bring them together.
Here's what I think. If the U.S. treats the Tea Party like Israel treated its right wing, the U.S. is going to be as screwed as Israel is. They need to not give the religious right or any control over any laws at all. They didn't Israel kind of give them sort of, here you can have some family law rules and some... Yeah,
marriage. They control marriage.
Yeah.
They're legitimized there.
All right, so Tea Party, good for the Jews, bad for the Jews.
Bad for the Jews.
Even though tea is nice, I like tea. A cup of tea.
It is nice.
Okay.
A cup of tea with some Danish.
I like a Danish. You like a cheese Danish?
We should start the Danish party.
Oh, I like it.
But not as a nationality.
Cherry cheese, as a cherry cheese.
Cherry cheese, yeah.
Okay, 2 more quick stories. One is Alec Baldwin, who had this great show. I liked it a lot, except for that half of the episodes where he's cloying. But the rest are great. On WNYC.
You can suppress your vomit. Great.
He's on the New York public radio station. And his last episode before he's moving to do a television show where he's going to try and be like Charlie Rose is
on MSNBC.
It's with Seinfeld. It's the best interview I've heard with Seinfeld. It's terrific. He's a super disciplined, this is a guy who has a plan. Everything's mapped out and neatly organized.
Sounds like a cabal running the world.
Oh, really?
Jerry
Okay,
Seinfeld is a global Jewish world domination in the form of one funny man. We use the humor to fool people, to distract them from our plans.
so you think it's really the Jewish comics who are the true elders of Zion that are running everything?
Yeah. The comics of Zion, if you will.
The comics of Zion, maybe that's what we should call when we submit
Oh my
our show.
God. I mean, when we are have offers from HBO and stuff, maybe.
Right.
It's a
When
good
when
idea.
we try and do our live show, the comics of Zion, instead of
Yeah,
Morning Dew
cause.
Live. Great.
Cause.
Yeah, we run everything. We run it all. It could just be like a meeting. We could run it like a meeting of
That would be really
where we're
funny.
planning it, how we're going to
Like,
control
what are we
everything.
setting the currency for
Exactly.
today? How
Comic
much
currency.
inflation?
I'm
Yeah,
changing the currency to cherry cheese Danish.
that would be good.
Okay, how many Jews in America? There is a really Ungapachka article in the forward about apparently 3 or 4 different surveys to figure out the total Jewish population in the U.S., which people are trying to figure out. Is it 5.2 million? Is it 5 point? Turns out there's 5.8 million, not 5.2, but there was all this Jewish press where people lost their minds saying, we lost 300,000 Jews. It's because everyone's intermarrying.
Oi.
Apparently 52% of Jews intermarry.
Which surprises me.
It
It
does?
doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't, it doesn't.
Come on. It says,
I mean,
when's the last time you dated someone Jewish? Come on.
actually, I don't think I've ever had a real relationship with a Jew.
There-
But I don't think I mean, it surprises me in that I do think there's so many Jews concerned with Jew authenticity. I don't care about that, but I always feel like there are. But I guess it's a generational thing. Um, God, that means the ones who are around are going to be like the most annoying types of Jews.
This story is that there's
Genetically.
been saying there's been too much hysteria. We're not vanishing. There's actually plenty of us.
Yeah.
And so don't
I
worry.
always think it's more Jewish. I was saying this the other day. I think it's more Jewish to intermarry than to marry someone Jewish.
Because
Well, in this very specific Jewish way, it's internationalist, social justicey, you are your brother's keeper, brown and yellow, white and green, the Shalom, the Lechem poem, whatever.
I don't know. It's
Or, I don't know it. We'll link to it. Someone will call in with a link. The universalism. I guess the universalist aspect of Jewishness that I find compatible with intermarriage.
well, we're not recruiters. I mean, we're not
Right,
real
we're not-
evangelical. In fact, Judaism, you're supposed to turn someone away 3 times
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
when they
More
try
than-
to convert, which is, I think, really
No,
what
no, no. No, you can go.
Eh, eh.
What were you saying about lesbians? Sorry.
Well, I think we need to learn from Jews. We need to turn the
Oh,
ladies
that's
away 3
good.
times, but it's before they want to.
Before they get in the club.
Before we
Or
give
you
them a
could have,
before we sleep with them. Let's put it that
right.
way.
You could have, I was going to say something, but I realized that's ridiculous because it's a catch-22. Because I was going to say they have to have a 3-to-1 lesbian ratio, but they'll never get that ratio if they're not allowed to try it with women. So maybe you personally, like certain lesbians, can adopt that as a rule. Then.
So
Anyway,
turns out,
how many times do you walk around a hopo? Unrelated.
oh
I
gosh,
guess.
7
times.
Why do we
7,
know
okay.
that?
How many weddings? That's why. I've only been to one wedding where they did it.
I've never been to any. I think I had friends. I think they told me. I don't think I was even there. So I bet the average American has no idea there's just like 5 million Jews or whatever it is.
Out of
5.8?
there are 5 million Jews in America.
5.8. Yes.
In America, how many people in America are there in general? Just
U.S.
is orange
Census
your
Bureau.
favorite color?
Yeah. So you're just figuring that out now.
No, not really. I mean, I'm just vocalizing it.
You're vocalizing.
There's a guy in my camp.
316 million.
Wow, we
316 million, of which 5 million are Jews. We make an impression. It's like
we
lesbians.
do. We do. Yeah,
have a big
Jews
reputation.
aren't lesbians.
I
Oh.
wonder if it's a similar population percentage.
Oh, that's an interesting.
Have a good morning. Enjoy.
You too.